the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, August 16th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, and CEDIA. It's CEDIA time, right?
Woo!
It's that time of year.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
This is pretty much like, I have meeting Mondays, and meeting Mondays, like, it's pretty much just me on a phone call a day. Gavin, I'm sure you know what that's like, right?
Yeah, I have meeting Monday to Friday. So.
Fridays too. They've added that one on.
Man.
Oh.
Well, we at work, we have a policy, no meetings on Fridays, right? It's a team policy, but other teams realize that our calendar is always open on Friday. So they book it on Friday. So we have no meetings with our team on Fridays. Can
you just like block it all out so nobody can schedule?
It's a giant team meeting on Friday, and then nobody can do that.
Well, the thing is, people have wised up so that when they see your calendar fully blocked off, they assume that you're just free and you just didn't want to be bothered during then. So they're like, their meeting's so important that they just pick a spot in there, So, yeah. Or they just book it during your lunch because they're like, this guy must be eating lunch. So
I don't think they're using calendars right at your company.
They are not. They are not. And especially when you're working it's an international company. So we got a lot of 7 a.m., 8 a.m.s, but it's like,
that's just wrong.
Meetings. It's just wrong.
Are you some very important person? Can't you just like tell people to stop doing this?
I'm important enough to be invited to the meetings. I'm not important enough that I can decline them.
Oh man,
yeah,
you're in that weird in between stage.
Yeah, that in between stage. So I can't.
A couple more years, hopefully.
Yeah, one day I'll get that promotion. I can shut down these meetings. Yeah.
You put an answer back, maybe.
If you vote me for president,
there we go.
If you vote me for president, I'm going to cut back on all company meetings. I'm going to make it illegal to hold meetings outside of your working hours.
This will be good.
All right.
Well, I'm going to start there.
Yeah, well, my meeting Mondays have gone into meeting Tuesdays, so it's now 2 days, and there's also meeting Thursdays. So I'm up to 3 days of meetings because we're getting ready for CEDIA, and we're going over all the marketing stuff, and everything has to be gone over, and all the product has to get released, and all that fun stuff. So, and the booth had to get shipped. The booth was already, I think it was shipped yesterday or the day before, or I guess not the day before, but yesterday. So yeah, like it's there. It's going to a warehouse on a truck and whatnot. So
I feel like I'm so sad because I feel like I'm missing out this year, especially on the happy hour.
Yeah. You will be missing out on the happy hour. Maybe I'll hook up a camera or something and we'll stream it or something.
We'll just FaceTime you. And
FaceTime.
We're there. Yeah,
put me in one of the stools. That way it's like I'm there. Buy me a drink.
I thought about finding some of those large cardboard cutouts of you guys. And then we'll just put those up in the corner and people can take pictures with you. Yeah.
Yeah, you should take some stickers too and give them to people in person.
I'm out of stickers. I should buy more stickers.
Yeah, we don't have any more stickers. I think I have like 2 here.
TJ gave them all away.
We sent out a lot. People got them. They liked them.
Stamps work.
We'll get some exclusive stickers for people that are there, some one of a kinds or,
more work for Seth. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you are interested in coming to the HomeTech Happy Hour, please RSVP. Let me know that you're coming so I can order the right amount of food and be it beverages and whatnot, I guess. HomeTech.fm/happy hour has all the information there. It's on Friday. Starts at 6. I have 6 to 9 p.m. I don't know if we're going to do 6 to 9 p.m. since it's a happy hour and not a happy 3 hours, but we did 3 hours last time. Maybe we'll do it again. Who knows? And then of course the ceremonial trip over to get the ice cream because that ice cream is really good. TJ, we're definitely gonna get that.
Oh
ice cream.
The honey ice cream.
Oh, so good.
It was so delicious. Good, honeycomb, is that what it was?
Honeycomb. Yeah, it had honeycomb bits inside of there. It was just so good.
Man, especially after at least 5 drinks, that was good.
there was a minimum or something. Yeah, there was some imbibing that had gone on, and then we went ice cream. So what could go wrong?
You're gonna miss us though. I'm going back to this. If anyone has a private jet and want to send it for us, we're willing to take that.
It doesn't have to be private. I mean, you can just buy me tickets.
Buy me tickets.
I'll fly Frontier. I'm not that fancy.
Any pilots listen,
Gavin is posh. I'm not posh.
Well, okay, for those 4 hours or 5 hours on the flight, you could sit next to me and I'll let you ask any questions about home automation. I'll give you free, for that flight. Get me to Denver.
Man,
could you program some YAML on the way there? Talk about
I'll set up your Home Assistant instance, whatever you want. We could do it in the 5 hours. Things I'll do for a free flight.
There you go.
Gavin's just always selling his body.
No, my mind.
My bad. You use your fingers sometimes. So
my mind. Listen, my mind. My body's too expensive to ship.
Being very clear here. Yeah. Well, if you, like I said, if you are coming to CEDIA, please join us. HomeTech Happy Hour. Same place, Rock Bottom Brewery, right after the show ish, sometime around 6 to 9 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m. Who knows? Just whatever time we're there. There'll be food and beverage to, come by and say hi. That's the thing. But please go to HomeTech.fm/happy hour, RSVP on and let me know you're coming. So I kind of need that. I have to have a head count for these people. They want to know, like, how many people are coming?
At least 12.
It's somewhere.
How many did we have last year? We had like 20 to 30 last year.
I think there were more than that. At the peak time, there was definitely more than that because there were a couple of tables that were full up over towards the corners and that kind of thing. So people came in and out too. Yeah. Since it lasts a while and it's like right on top of, I think, the award ceremonies and whatnot that, once people got done over there, they made their way over too. So I don't know. It's Friday. It's kind of the end of the long week for a couple of, for us and what we're doing. And so it's kind of nice to go sit down, have a drink somewhere. And that's what we were doing. So I'll see what I can do about those cardboard cutouts, though.
That would be hilarious.
I always wanted to be on one of those roaming robots that you see going around the office.
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to be on one of those.
That could be more possible than the cardboard cutouts, actually.
If you could get one of those.
Just get your giant touchscreen shipped to Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
We could be on the touchscreen. Too bad you could have just put it in the booth.
All right, I could have just brought it and put it in the crate. Too bad. All right. Well, not much news this week. Everybody seems to be kind of gearing up for CEDIA. There's not much in the news over there. And I suspect some of the press releases will start to hit later this week and early next week as we move into the show. But there's a couple pieces of news. So what do we say we jump into these HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
Kind of a news out of CEDIA. Trinnov Audio has made Waveforming, an advanced room optimization technology, publicly available on its Altitude line of audio processors. This innovative technology enhances bass performance and consistency across listening spaces. It's initially testing through an 18-month early access period. Waveforming is now included in all future Altitude products and can be added to existing ones with a free software upgrade. It's pretty awesome. This technology has been in the works for 7 years, supports various subwoofer layouts, and it is feasible for a wide array of spaces and budgets. This is really cool. I was on another podcast earlier in the week, and they were talking about this. And what's really neat about this is, like, this is a home theater processor. It's an expensive home theater processor, whatever. It goes in expensive rooms. That's what Trinnov is known for. But like, what's really cool about this is that they update the software on this thing, and this is a really great software update where it handles subwoofers and this crazy algorithm that they have. But it goes back to processors they sold back in like 2015. So like, if you've got an older processor, you hit update and you have this technology. Like, if you've got the subs in there and you just need to, like, I don't really know what the process is of like rebalancing the room out. I'm sure it kind of takes some work as well, but still, like, you don't have to rebuild the entire room around a new processor, a new technology. It's built into this Altitude. So that's really cool.
That is pretty cool that it's coming to a wide range of products, especially in older ones. I've heard smarter people than me talk about this. I think Owen talks about this a lot, and some other people in our circle. And I've never actually used this before, though, so I'd be interested in giving it a shot at some point.
It is a $18,000 to $37,000 processor, if you're curious. And I think there's a bigger one now. There's like a...
makes sense why I've never used it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is way above my budget, so I'm sorry I'll never use this, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Yeah, there's a 36 channel one out now, which
36 channels.
Pricing on the 24 channel surround processor is $37,000, so the 36 is probably a little bit more. And I'm just looking at random sites on the internet telling me those prices. I have no idea what they actually are, but I've heard they're expensive and they go in the fancy theater rooms. This is what you have. You have a fancy theater room. I think they will have a listening. Well, I know they'll have a listening booth or a listening room at CEDIA. I'm hoping to like sneak into it. It's not open very long. It's open for like 3 hours to the public. Then otherwise they're just doing like fancy things. Like, I really want to hear this thing because they pack this room up. I guess they ship it from Italy. Like, it's a big to do. And I think they were saying on the podcast I was on earlier on Resi Week, AV Nation, they were saying that this is probably the last year they're going to do that, bring it in that way. So if that's the case, I'm going to spend some time trying to sneak in or get in the line over there. So because this sounds like this is one of those really cool processors and speaker systems and systems that you don't get to hear all the time. So
yeah, this is one system I'd love to experience. So that would be a cool thing to do at CEDIA.
Yeah.
Is, to just experience the system.
Yep. So if you have that private jet, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support and look for the Patreon option there that says private jet.
Private jet, $3,000. It'll be a specific option.
We'll talk about 3D printing as well if you want.
It's a stretch goal. Anything you want. Yeah.
Anything you want.
What about Microsoft Copilot? Will you talk with us about that?
Oh, I'm sick of talking about that. That's another show.
Man, not even for the private jet, huh?
Okay, for the private jet, I will. Okay, if you want,
I just want to clarify for the listeners.
Yeah. Anything like even Copilot's on the table. I'll sacrifice.
All right, well, back on the affordable end of things, I guess. There's a new TPLink Tapo D225 video doorbell. It's got 24/7 local recording and smart alerts for people, packages, and pets, all for under $100. It's a dual power device, can function on a battery or be hardwired through continuous video recording as well. I guess though the continuous video recording aspect of it is only available when it's hardwired. You can't do that on battery. The doorbell includes a 10,000 milliamp battery that can last up to 8 months on a single charge, but it requires removal for charging, of course. There's a review over here on The Verge for this thing. This doesn't sound bad. It looks odd. I don't like, we were talking about this before the show. Like every doorbell out there looks too techie. Like, why do they want these doorbells to look techie? Why aren't they like trying to make them look more like doorbells? I don't know. This is going to be one of those things that gets studied in product design in the future, I think. But for under $100, this doesn't sound like a bad option for somebody looking for a video doorbell.
Yeah, seems like a pretty good deal for the price. It is very ugly, though. I don't know. It's like every video doorbell manufacturer got together and just like decided that they weren't going to try to make attractive devices.
Not even going to try.
They're just like, whatever, we don't care about aesthetics, which is weird because it's like the first thing you see when you go up to somebody's house. But it is cool that it has 24/7 recording. It is weird though that you can't use it. You can't use the existing chime with it as well. A couple other weird issues. So for $100, I really don't have high hopes for it.
You can forgive a lot, yeah.
Pretty affordable.
Yeah. And I feel bad that I actually have to say this, but I think it needs to be said. But the camera needs to be made a little more obvious. And the reason why I'm saying that is, how much footage I have on my camera of people trying to push the actual camera to ring the doorbell?
Is that like a real thing?
It is. It happens to me. Like I see people come up and they actually, you see their fingers start to push the camera, and instead, like, because I guess they think that's just the button, right? I don't know, but if that's happening, they obviously need to figure out a way to make that a little more obvious.
I only had that problem once, and it was with a Doorbird doorbell.
Yeah,
it was the D101. And if you look at it, it's basically like the picture of the button, and then right above there is like a black circle. And I had a client who I guess had people over and just pushed the motion thing on it repeatedly. And
it's what you want to push. Honestly,
yeah.
Like the button is not inviting. That big puffy black button thing, press that. That's what you want to push.
And that's what people pushed, and they broke it, and they had to buy a new one.
It's the worst design ever. It's not to mention it's like an inch away from the stupid button. So it's like, which one am I going to press? This one. I'm going to press this one.
And I would look at this and know which one to press, but obviously people like with mine, they don't all know which one's the button. Right. So that's a design flaw to me, I guess. I mean, you have to design it for the lowest common denominator, like the group that's going to make the mistake, Yeah.
No, maybe that's what they're going to, like this TP-Link one here, the D225 that we're talking about. It's got a big giant, it's like a black case, I guess. It's got white casing. Like it's actually, the side of it, this thing is huge. Because of the giant battery that's inside.
Very thick.
It's 2 bricks.
It's super thick, yeah.
Yeah. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm judging it from the picture.
But it's got the big giant white button, that has a light up ring around it.
With a doorbell, with a like a door chime or a bell icon.
I feel like this whole they could do better. Like, instead of making a circular button, like all the doorbells before these had like the square buttons, right? They were like a rectangular, long, skinny button, and then the cameras aren't going to ever be rectangular or long and skinny. Like, make the cameras round and the buttons square, and maybe people can tell the difference. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Device I'm still waiting for Tapo to come out with. Their H900 home base.
It's never going to happen, TJ. Stop.
Oh, man, I really want it. Just come on, TP-Link.
Home base is never going to happen.
I want to get rid of Blue Iris. Help.
It's not going to happen. I'm telling you, they're not going to release that product. You liked it too much. You were like, oh, this is going to replace everything I have. And then like they heard that and they said, no, we can't do that.
Hell, Blue Iris actually took them out.
Yeah, they shut it down.
We have the patent on crappy software.
Well, check this out if you're in the market for. I was just talking to somebody today about video doorbells, and they were saying, the Ring is okay, you just have to charge it every now and then, but something like this, 8 months of video on the thing, not continuous recording, but like a video event, and people ring your doorbell. 8 months,
that's pretty good.
You might forget to record it, or forget to charge it up after 8 months. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this week. Like I said, we're pretty light on news. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/495. All right, nothing in the mailbag this week, but we do have a pick of the week. This is funny. I think, TJ, you came up with this somewhere. Brian Jackson over on Threads. He writes at $20 on eBay, and now I have a fully functioning 10-inch in-wall touch panel for my home automation system, and it's powered over Ethernet. It's got PoE. It says, thanks, Crestron. But it's not running Crestron. It's running Home Assistant. This is a great idea. This is like everybody's been looking for a nice-ish in-wall touchscreen that you can have. And like, I see people posting stuff on Alibaba all the time. That's roughly in this price range, like $20 to $50, somewhere in there, PoE powered. But no, Crestron has made these before. And they've cycled out, they've been installed in universities or whatever, and they're no good for that anymore. So they've been pulled out and, decommissioned or whatever. And you can pick these little touchscreens up on eBay now for like, what, $20, 10-inch in wall? Not bad. Not a bad idea. It's actually a really good idea.
I love how when they utilize old hardware for new things like this in this case, right? Because it keeps the e-waste out of the junk, out of the garbage. And in this case, it solves another issue. Like, I wish more companies would do this. If they're recycling these things and getting rid of them, then just unlock them or whatever and throw them on a used market and let it go for cheap and let people find other uses for it other than your Crestron system. Mm-hmm. I love that because we got a lot of stuff that's going in the garbage from old computers from companies that, recycle their computers every 4 years. But those computers are still good computers that can run so many things still, right? And I think we should do more of that and focus a little more on that.
There's actually a thread over in the Home Assistant forums that are linked in this post as well. I'll link this as well. But there's a bunch of people that explain how to do this and set this up with this is called the Crestron TWS. It's a 1060. There's 1070s. I'm sure there's probably bigger ones, 1080s, 1090s, whatever series you are. I have no idea. But if you have one of these, if you can get your hands on one of these on eBay or whatever, it looks like it's pretty easy to get them up and going. $25, $30 people are saying. So not a bad idea. And the thing with like Crestron, this is what they're designed to do. They're designed to be on-wall mounted touchscreens and powered over PoE. You're not stepping out of the box. Like, it's going to have nice mounting hardware if you can get it. You're not having to, mess your wall up and rig things up. No, it's designed to do this and look okay and look fine. So yeah, this is a win-win. Recycled older products, not a bad idea. I like this. This is really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty easy for them to use. I found it on Threads originally, so I asked the person, I was like, well, how did you actually get Home Assistant on here? And they responded, they were able to factory reset it and set it up with a built-in EMS app with a custom URL to my Home Assistant instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, relatively easy. They didn't have to do anything hacky to it. They said he had to like factory reset it, which was like hitting the reset button like 10 times. But other than that, didn't have to like hack it or change firmware or anything like that, which I'm a fan of. I don't want to buy something and have to like update or like change the firmware out, like all this other weird stuff. I want to buy something and just use it. And especially something like this, you can just buy the wall mount kit with it and then install it on the wall and you're done.
Yeah, I'm looking at TSW 1070s, brand new, $1,250.
Yeah, those ones are expensive.
Yeah. If you can get it,
but those ones are much nicer looking.
But you can get it for, on eBay, brand new, pulled from wherever for $50. So
for the 1070?
Yeah, 1070.
Oh, I was seeing the 1070 for like $500 to $1,000.
The people buying these things don't want eBay products too, right? So.
Well, that's true, yeah.
But like I said, if you're pulling them out of a company and you instead of throw them out, throw them on eBay and let people reuse them.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Integrators are definitely reselling stuff.
Well, I mean,
your beer money somehow.
These are like one of those products. These are set up for like boardrooms or campus controls and that kind of thing. And they're pulled out of these large installs all the time and put up on eBay. Yeah. There's even a third. When at Infocom, there's like a third party auction thing that you can use to basically, like, if you pull a bunch of equipment out, you can just hand it all over to them and they will resell it for you. So like they had a giant booth there at Infocom where they were signing people up because it just happens so often, and it's such a big industry, like reselling this stuff. Like there's a whole reseller. You just ship them pallets of equipment and they resell it for you.
Well, yeah, especially like universities and stuff, because a lot of the universities, they have to update their stuff every X amount of years or they lose the funding for it. So they're literally always updating their crap.
So I was looking at the video he posted. It doesn't look like it's the most performance-driven thing. I'm not sure what's causing that. Maybe some of the newer like animations on Home Assistant or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe if there's a newer version, maybe the 1070 is a little bit better and it runs a little bit faster. And if you pay a little bit more for it, not $1,200 or whatever it was. I'm looking at a ton of 1060s between $100, $50, $38.99. So they're all over the price range. When you get to the 1070s, those are like $350, $159. So it's all over as well.
I really don't have any use for a touchscreen, but I kind of want one.
Yeah,
especially for this cheap.
Yeah, I don't have any use for this at all. What do you do? Just press the update button on Home Assistant more often than every week? No, I don't think so.
You have a big one sitting behind you that you don't even use. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. It's barely on anymore, except when my daughter comes in and draws stuff on it. So she's not outside pressing the camera button instead of the camera instead of the doorbell button. I was going to say, my 7-year-old does that quite often. So yeah, it's a great idea. I like it. More of this reusing recycled stuff. And of course, it's Crestron's probably going to be built pretty well. And like I said, you can get the mounting hardware and mount it. Looks like you can mount these all sorts of different ways. I've seen them like tabletop mounted as well. Like there must be some kind of like tabletop mount that you can get.
Can they be flush mount with the same color as your counter?
Probably not. It's probably not flush mount, but probably more like on wall mount, I guess, than anything. I noticed like a lot of the flush mount stuff is problematic, I think mostly because of heat and then probably like certifications or something like that. So I've noticed most all the touchscreens have gone to be like an on-wall mount style to get around that. The exception of some of the like in-wall iPad mounts and that kind of thing where they give you a little box and you can slide the iPad in. Most of these have like heat problems. Let's just say they don't have the R&D budget that Apple does to make products. Cool pick of the week. I like it. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Email address is feedback@hometech.fm, or you can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. I actually did something. I know. I put a little picture over in the hub. Yeah. We're kind of changing our daughter's room around, and I was looking at the fan the other day, and the fan has lights on it. And I'm like, you know what? I wired this fan, and I know that I wired it for both dimmer control and switch control for the fan system, thinking that one day I would break it apart and put 2 switches in, or I would get one of these, 2 load things. And lo and behold, TJ sends me one in a shrimp box, and it's just sitting on my desk for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Shrimp switch.
And the shrimp switch shows up, and I put it in. Super easy to wire up. Everything fired right up, and now my daughter can go in her room. She can turn our fan on and off if she wants to with the little button that's on the bottom, and turn on the lights on and off.
And it works?
She really likes it. So yeah, it works great.
Wow.
I don't have it hooked up to, hasn't caught the house on fire yet. I haven't hooked it up to Home Assistant or anything. I think I have to plug in my USB dongle thing over here.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, one of these days I'll do that. But for now, the hardware is installed, and all I have to do is get. Now, I did notice there's probably some way to identify that thing into the system. I hope it doesn't involve taking the thing back apart and looking and scanning a QR code on the underside of it or something.
Well, so you have to take the switch cover off, because you have to get the DSK, the little security code.
That's only if you want to. It's Z-Wave, right?
Yeah, it's Z-Wave.
That's only if you want to include it using secure. I don't put my switches in usually with that.
We're all about security on this show, obviously.
No. I don't do it for switches.
Man.
For certain devices, you're forced to do it. Like, I think locks and garage door openers and stuff like that, you're forced to. For switches, you're not, and I don't usually do it for switches.
Oh, there we go.
If someone were to hack my system and get into my house through my Home Assistant, I want them to stay there so they can show me how they did it.
Yeah,
because that would be cool. It'd be like,
they're pretty smart.
Yeah, just sit on the couch, relax, wait for me to get home, and just let me know how you did this, because that was pretty good.
You could use the neighbor's printer too.
Have a drink,
Well, that's pretty cool. You got it installed. So it is a pretty nice switch. Honestly, I really like it, and we have several of them throughout the house. I'm slowly replacing for other reasons, but they work great. So
yeah, no, it feels great. It's installed fine. There's no issues there. That had little. I had to kind of double check the instructions on the Zoo's website. Which were great. I've seen much worse instructions from other lighting control vendors in the past. And these were color coded with all sorts of warnings and things to kind of watch out for as you're putting it in. So it made a lot of sense. Pop it in. It works. I'll eventually hook it up to something so we can make sure that it gets turned off and the fan gets turned off back there at some point. So yeah, thanks TJ. Thanks box of shrimp. It was great. I've got a couple other loads like in this house, and I'm thinking, these Zeus and 30s, they might be able to take care of those as well.
Well, depending on when you time it, Seth, you might get some more.
Are you still taking them out?
Yeah, well, so I'm waiting on the Innovelli Presence switches right now. I've got 2 on order, and then when I get those 2, I'm going to move 2 existing Innovelli switches to the other rooms that have the Zeus double switches. So I'm waiting on Innovelli at this point.
You know me in timing, so.
Oh, well, I know you're always in a rush to do things.
Always in a rush, yeah. All right, well, Gavin, what you been up to?
So my Home Assistant setup is pretty much like, so my Home Assistant, I'm at that point where it's like all settled down now, but this week I decided to go through and start cleaning up the install, right? So I don't really have much more to do in my house. So I've been cleaning up the actual install. So I had a lot of like plugins and integrations installed that I was messing with. So I started, if I'm not using them or, it's a waste of time, I started cleaning that out, uninstalling them, removing them, all cleaning up entities. I think I posted, it was in the Slack channel where I had like 7,000 or 8,000 entities on my Home Assistant.
Wow.
7,500 entities on my Home Assistant.
Man.
So whenever I open up my entity list, my Firefox just hangs. So, I just like, I have to actually go into
too much stuff.
Yeah, I have to actually go into Edge, or use Chrome to actually open it up so I can actually do something. I've been doing a lot of cleanup of that stuff. My config files, I had a lot of stuff in there editing out, because in the newer Home Assistant installs, they've moved a lot of that into the GUI now. So I've been going through now and slowly migrating it. I wish they automated that. Like if they detected something in your config, they can just move it to the GUI and, comment it out in the config or something like that. I know they could probably do it if they really put their time into it, but it's been getting a lot faster because I had a lot of stuff in there that was sucking up some resources that I don't use anymore. So it's nice to do that every now and then. It's like spring cleaning, but I'm doing it in the middle of summer.
I can see that automatic thing breaking a lot more. Like it'd be more prone to break something than it would to actually be helpful. So like the easier thing is just say, well, you do it, you know?
Well, that's like every other Home Assistant update. So I mean, it's just something else, you know, like, but, yeah, that's what I spent like this week doing is I'm still at the point though where I want to redo some of my dashboards, but I'm also afraid that they're going to introduce some feature or something that's going to make me want to redo it again. So I'm kind of waiting for them to kind of settle down or at least introduce certain features I really want into the dashboards and, before I start focusing more on that. So, you know, that's my Home Assistant. I see more people too jumping on the Home Assistant train lately. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I've seen some YouTubers and stuff, you know, they're really much, they were all HomeKit, for example, and they've been slowly like, dabbling in Home Assistant now, right? So it kind of sucks if they're, HomeKit is in their channel title, you know, and they're going to start talking Home Assistant.
But you can bridge them together, right? So like, I think it's good that it all kind of interoperates in some way together. Like they've done a good job of kind of being like, okay, this hub does this does this. And like, I can bring all the HomeKit stuff into Home Assistant if I want.
Yeah. And you can bring all the Home Assistant stuff into HomeKit.
Like HomeKit,
it's really nice like that. And same with, like, you could pretty much expose anything from Home Assistant to like anything, like to the Amazon or the Google or the HomeKit. Like, it's pretty much doing what Matter is trying to do, but they did it kind of before Matter, right? And they give a lot more. So,
well, I mean, it's kind of a different, like, it's not, Matter's more like of a retail type selling thing, but like, this is nice that if you did start with something like say in 5 years or whatever, and you started with your Matter Home and you started using it with Google Home or whatever, and you wanted to upgrade to HomeKit, like you just install HomeKit, tie it in with the Matter network there, where it talks to the Google stuff and the Google Hub for all of your Matter stuff, and you get all the integrations and advanced stuff over on HomeKit that can talk to what you already have. I think it's a great thing that this exists. I think this is really good that everything is. It was weird. It looked like walled gardens at first, and then now like everything's just being tied together in different ways. I really like it.
Which is nice. I like where we're going. I totally agree like that. The only thing I don't agree is you said upgrade to HomeKit. I don't know if that's a correct statement there.
Upgrade to Home Assistant. What did I say? HomeKit?
You said HomeKit, you know.
Okay, I meant like if you had like Google Home and then you could put Home Assistant in and like bridge those two things together, and then use more advanced stuff on Home Assistant with Google. You know, Google Home's great, but it's like it may not have the advanced integration. I mean,
exactly.
Now that it can write its own scripts, and maybe it is, but we'll see. We'll see what the Gemini thing does. But like, there's like you're not going to get your power company bill hacked into the Google Home anytime soon.
Exactly.
But I've got that in Home Assistant. Yeah. I don't know why, but I got it. But yeah, that's that kind of stuff I think is awesome. I really like how this is played out to be like more like tinkering, where you can get in and kind of mess around with stuff. And if I say, you know, forget this Home Assistant thing, kill it off, go back to just using HomeKit, like I haven't really lost anything, right?
Exactly.
Like, it all still works over there.
And it's only a matter of time before the pro space starts looking at Home Assistant and integrating it in the side of their projects too.
Yeah, I think it's coming. It's just going to take they're slow burn. Like they have to figure out how to use it on their projects. They have to figure out how it doesn't break and they can make money. Yeah. And then it'll happen.
That's the problem with Home Assistant. It breaks like every update. There's something breaking.
Yeah. I saw that we had like two converts. What was it this week?
Yeah.
This week?
Yeah.
In the Slack chat, yeah.
Greg was pinging me with questions, and I helped him out there. You know, like when you're in that Slack channel, you got access to Gavin as a service. You know, people don't realize what they have there.
Yeah, we need some of those Nabu bucks. We need the Nabu Casa dollars.
Yeah, that's right.
And Prusa bucks.
Prusa bucks, yeah.
Oh, speaking of
Prusa bucks.
Speaking of Prusa,
you bought a new one?
No. Well, I did. I think I did mention that I upgraded to the MK4S. Yeah, I ordered the upgrade kit, so I'll be getting a little bit faster. But so I mentioned also I sold the old printer. Since that recording, my friend came, picked it up, and He's been loving it. Now, I think I undercharged him for it because the amount of knowledge he has access to, I've really saved him a crap load of time, and I didn't realize how much he would be messaging me with questions. I truly underestimated that, but he's loving it now. I got his first layer set. I explained to him. I gave him like a tutorial on how to calibrate, ran him through everything. And every time he has a problem, he sends me a message. I explain it to him. He fixes it and he's happy again, So yeah, I got to start, charging more for my time.
This is where the reoccurring fees come from. This is where the Gavin service
RMR.
Once you get them locked in with your used equipment, then you're like, hey, if you want some help on this, I got a nice little service plan over here. Just head to this website, check out, boom. Gavin is a service.
I know how much we're hating subscriptions right now, but maybe I need to start a subscription service.
Hey, gas would be worth it, man.
I know. I'll save you hours. Like you may not realize how much time I'm saving you by just, Yeah. So
Gavin GBT.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the old 3D printer is happy. It's cleaner than it's ever been. It's being taken care of and maintained. And I like to see where my tech goes when my tech goes to good use.
Nice. Your wife's happy that you got rid of a printer too?
The most upsetting part about this whole thing is she hasn't even realized I got rid of it yet. So she never realized when I got a new one. And now she hasn't even realized I got rid of the old one yet. So I'm just waiting for her to notice that something's missing from the office. And it wasn't the printer I put back in the case, like I'm waiting for that day, but I don't think she even noticed it's gone yet.
Gavin, this is a perfect opportunity to buy another printer. And then you can have two and be like, well, I decided I'm going to keep it.
Well,
it doesn't have much resale value.
I was just looking at laser printers, but that's a whole different topic. I didn't want
to lose us money, honey. I wanted to.
I wanted to, my neighbor has the Cricut, so we're good there, but we don't have a laser printer, so I don't know.
There's a little breaking news here. We have our first HomeTech Happy Hour host. It's a reoccurring host. Alan Chow over at Chow Main Soft has become a Happy Hour sponsor. So thank you, Alan. We had him on for an interview last week. We talked all about software development and developing for the home and
their new marketplace.
Yeah. And I saw that he released that Habitat driver he was talking about. So that's out now. I've seen a couple people asking and talking about that on the forum. So thanks, Alan. We really do appreciate it. And we will be seeing you in Denver.
Nice.
So TJ, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I got a couple of smaller projects going on. My first project, non-tech related. I got a couple weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, I don't know, a while ago in the future or in the past. My client had an Uni pizza oven sitting on their deck, and they're talking to me, and they're like, I want to get rid of this. And I was like, you know what? I've never really wanted a pizza oven, but I'm feeling lucky today. What do you want for it? And so he said $100. And I said, deal, I'll take it. And so I got this, I got the Uni pizza oven. I think they called it a Karu 16. I got a little outside table with it. I got some 2 propane tanks with it, but all for $100. And the pizza oven alone was $700, and the table was $400 or something. So it's $1,100. And the only reason they were getting rid of it is because they wanted to get an electric one. So I got a really good condition Uni pizza oven, but when I got it, it was having a couple issues. It would not stay lit whenever I lit it, and it works off propane. And so I contacted Uni, and I was like, "Hey, I've got this pizza oven here. I didn't buy it. I got it from somebody else, but I can't get it to work, and I've troubleshot it, and this is what I think the issue is." And they said, "Here, send us this information." I couldn't find a serial number on the actual propane piece, and I was like, oh man, this is probably gonna be a problem since you don't have the serial number. I was like, can I just buy the parts anyway? And they're like, nah, don't worry about it, we'll just send you the parts for free anyway. So I was like, heck yeah. So I got the parts today. I tried to start replacing it. I haven't got that far yet, but I've been reading the documentation from Uni, and I gotta say, so far I'm pretty happy. The customer service has been excellent, and their documentation is really good too. So I haven't got to use it yet because I just haven't got to fix it. But I'm really liking the company in general. So if you're looking for a pizza oven, I think you should give it Uni a look.
Nice. Yeah, I've been looking at different versions of those. $100 is a steal. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Even if it doesn't work, I don't care. I'll be able to resell it or
Right.
something. So I was quick to pick up on that. So
Yeah. Oh, good find. I'm curious as to once you get that up and going and start. I think you have to like develop a way to cook pizzas on it, right? Like,
yeah, I think it's like a whole science.
It's a thing.
Which
Yeah.
I'm not really a chef, so I don't know if I'll be able to master it.
Well,
but-
like it cooks fast too. It's like 4 minutes or 30 seconds or something, and it's done. I don't know. Like it's fast.
Yeah. I figured I would start like rudimentary and just like cook a frozen pizza, which I'm pretty sure is like sacrilege or something. But we're just going to cook a frozen pizza on it and see how that goes first.
It might work. Who knows? Well, could be frozen in the middle still. Sounds like an idea though.
Yeah, who knows? But maybe I'll get that fixed this week and I'll be able to use it this weekend.
Yeah, and keep us updated.
I got Aquara sent me some more stuff. They sent me one of the FP1E sensors. Just got it today, so I haven't got a chance to get it set up yet. I did take it out of the box though. A couple things that I thought were interesting is that I don't think I have to look at this again, but I don't think it's compatible with HomeKit. I had trouble getting it added to HomeKit because it doesn't have a HomeKit code on it. It has a QR code for the setup process, but it appears to need an actual Aquara hub, whereas the FP2 did not. It would just work with HomeKit natively. So that might be user error, but I think that's true at the moment. The other thing I noticed though right away is that it has a built-in USB cord. Which I'm not a fan of, right? Because like I just don't like building cables anyway. Because like, what if I want to replace it with a shorter one, or what if it breaks? For example, in my bathroom, I have an FP2 that I'm going to replace this one. I'm going to replace it with this FP1E, but I have like a short like 6-inch cable because it's literally right next to my outlet. But now I have this giant dongle of a wire that's attached to the sensor because I can't remove it. So that's kind of my other negative right now. But I'm interested to get it set up. Hopefully I'll get it set up here in the next day or two. I think it's perfect for our bathroom. Our bathroom is relatively small and we don't need multiple zones. I'm not even using multiple zones with the FP2 at the moment. So that's not really a concern for me right now. But definitely a perfect sensor for the bathroom because it's really small.
I'm not a fan of those products with the new with the USB-C cables on them, and definitely not a fan if they're attached. That's a no-go.
Well, this one's a USB-A cable too.
Oh, wow.
Which is even weirder. It's like a hardwired USB-A cable.
All it needs are two little like stick-in terminal. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's just not much cheaper. So at the moment, I would just go with the FP2.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole Sonos and Sonos SL speakers. It's like for $20 less, you can get the speakers without the microphone. And it's like, but just get the one with the microphone because you might want it in the future and you're not saving that much more money.
Right.
Just my initial thoughts on it. But I did get another new device this past week. The pick of the week last week, the Aquaflower.
Oh yeah.
They sent me one.
What?
And so I got one of the early like prototype versions. So it's not like the finalized chassis or anything like that. But I had it set up and working with Home Assistant within like 30 seconds.
Wow.
I plugged it in, it booted it up, it created its own SSID. I connected to it. I found my Wi-Fi, connected that to the Wi-Fi, and then Home Assistant found it automatically, and it just had all the zones and everything already set up. And so I replaced my Zigbee host timer with it, and it's been working great. I have no issues with it. The 6 individual zones are amazing to have because I was just watering everything at the same time. And so I've created automations with my EcoWit soil moisture sensors to detect if the soil is too dry 3 different times during the day, then they'll get watered. If it's above a certain percentage, they don't get watered. And so now I'll be able to save water because not everything needs watered that much.
That's cool. So a hose goes in, 6 little lines come out, and then you got sensors. That's really it's all done in Home Assistant too. So you don't have to. Yeah, that's cool. Very neat.
Yeah, and the Aquaflower does have a small web interface, but you can't like do any programming or anything through it, so you can actually see the zones and everything like that. I think they're talking about adding that at some point, but I don't think that's a huge thing for them at the moment. But it works great with Home Assistant. I haven't had any issues. And luckily, we already have really good Wi-Fi in the backyard. So
nice.
For $200 though, I think this is a great deal. And this is one of those products. I think it's one of those in between products that's so genius that I'm surprised I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, because it's just like little solenoids that are opening up for
That's it.
those little tiny drip system hoses on the other side.
Yeah, drip line.
And then you have like things like this, like the Ratio one. $100 for this, and it's just a hose that goes one out the other.
Yeah, and the Aquaflower's $200. I mean, twice the price, but you get 6 individual zones, and I don't know, just a lot more control over it. So
yeah.
I think it's a fantastic deal. We're probably gonna get them on the show here in the next month or two.
Cool.
So little teaser for you.
Very nice. Yeah, we might have a lawn tech summer thing too, because I had an email from a let's just say an unnamed robot lawnmower company.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can get that one lined up.
That'd be nice.
It should be fun. I forgot. I've been doing stuff as an integrator over the weekend. I had to repair a bunch of lightning damage things, and I'm curious, as I haven't done rack work in a while, and I had to redo a bunch of rack work because when you take all the equipment out, you put it all back in, the wires need to be redone, basically, right? What are people using these days for IR cable management? Like, is everybody just pretending that IP works and not running little IR buds with the tiny little annoying wires that get in between with everything? Like, that was such a mess to deal with. And I'm not sure, I'm just curious what people are using these days.
You don't just all bundle them all up together with like a zip tie?
Well, I guess some of the sources, most of what we were doing were like Apple TVs, right? Like 3 or 4 Apple TVs on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, yeah, you have like 4 of them and you can kind of run them and put them all together and bundle them down together. But still, like, they're like 6 foot long or longer, right? Because they're just kind of a generic cable. And you've got all this extra wire and mess to deal with. And I don't know, like, what are people doing? What are people using? Is there a terminal block I'm missing? I feel like this is something that, what's that company? Snap.
Speaker Snap.
Speaker Snap, yeah. I resell them, and I actually used them on this project as well. I was like, I have to have them because I've been talking about them for so long, and man, they've worked perfully for the
most genius product ever.
So yeah, I feel like it's something that they could come up and figure out how to do. Like, I think they need like a Speaker Snap with like a magnet on the bottom, and it's kind of like in and out for IR, and you can just cut the IR and then speakers snap it together with a little snap thing, right? Just snap it in, and it would work, right? Am I overthinking this?
If you bought a $1,000 3D printer, you can 3D print.
Is that all I need?
Genius.
This, I'm just saying, like, throw some money to solve your problem.
Yeah.
I feel like if I tell Speaker Snap, hey, I got this idea. Take your Speaker Snap and give us little snaps, and then put a magnet on the bottom where I can just stick it on a shelf. Like, because really the IR cables are just so light and annoying. They just get in the way.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of weight.
Just stick it on the shelf, and it'll, like, I can cut it to length, and then when I stick it on the shelf, I've got an in and an out. And if I ever have to, like, I'm never going to have to move that shelf until we redo the whole rack again, right? So, like, if I ever have to change out the equipment, I'll just take another IR and snip it to length, and then plug it into the little Speaker Snap thing that's magneted onto the shelf, right? Make it big enough to put a label on it if I got to, right? So I don't, like, yeah, that's another problem with IR cables, labeling them, because after they're all bundled together, guess what you can't really do very well is figure out.
I think you're the only one that uses IR still.
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody's using IP, and I'm sitting here like, no, IR works. Why would you use IP? Crazy.
IP and serial or bust.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Serial's outlasted.
Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, for two-way comms, serial is the way to go over IP any day of the week, because
it just works.
It just works. Yeah.
Once you figure out the baud rate and everything.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with serial, and I tell people this all the time, like, the problem with serial is that there's no blinky lights to tell you that it's working or not, right? You plug it in, and you're like, did the command go through? I don't know. Did the thing turn on? And then you have all sorts of problems. You go back and it turns out you have the wrong cable, or either the baud rate's wrong, like you said, or the bits are wrong, and something's set up wrong. And it just takes a bit of troubleshooting. But then once you get it in place, guess what? It will never break for the entire lifetime of the entire system. Like, it just will not. You can't break it unless somebody physically pulls the cable out. It won't break. So serial, way to go. The IP is just problematic because the little TCP servers and everything crash all the time. Little chips they have. No, you don't need that. Serial goes right to the control chip. It's a straight shot in. That's all you need. It's amazing.
You're going to be some 60-year-old guy yelling about serial and IR control.
It's amazing. All right. I think that's going to wrap up the show tonight. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day for pilgrimages from various home automation systems into a Home Assistant, it seems, because that's what people are doing these days. They're just migrating. They're migrating. They're doing it. They're doing it, Gavin.
If only I could get some kind of financial feedback from this,
Gain out of this. Yep. One of these days we'll get paid. I'm sure it's coming. Open source pays really well, I'm told. So
it does.
If you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. We'd just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up another week here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Till next time.
Take care.
Oh yeah, I gotta pick our plate package, our buffet packages. And then I'll get ice cream and think about TJ.
You say you're gonna eat ice cream and think about me?
Oh yeah, I was gonna get ice cream at the honey ice cream.
Oh yeah,
I think that kind of came out a little awkward.
I don't know if you should think about me as you're eating ice cream, Seth. Especially if you're drunk. I feel like that's a bad combination, dude.
Yeah. Almost as bad as thinking about them while you're eating a banana. You shouldn't be doing that.
That would be more appropriate, though.
Oh, Seth.
Oh man!
We'll let you. That one was on the recorded part of this.
That's
show.
right.
Yeah, I can just leave it I'll leave it in the show.
This is post-show
This is
clip.
primo Patreon material here.
Right there.
HomeTech After Dark.
Oh boy.